Hello and welcome to the Mindset Shift powered by the Hopper Motor Group. I'm your host, Mark Brunga. Now, most of us have life-changing moments. Some are on a larger scale than others. The effects of these life-changing moments can often lead to a fork in the road of our lives, and our future can be impacted on what choices we make in both positive and negative ways. This is usually where the game of life takes over, where our lives take a journey requiring skill, knowledge, chance, and making decisions. The story of transition sports starts with such a life-changing moment back in April of 2003. And to talk about that life-changing moment and the pathway to transition sports is its founder, Darren Hindle. Darren, welcome.
Thanks, Mark. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
That's good.
But before we start, we'd just like to let you know that our talk today will deal with some difficult topics. And if you feel as though you might need to reach out for help or support, please contact Beyond Blue on 1300 22 4636 or Lifeline on 13 11 14. But Daz, before we speak about April 2003, you'd already had a bit of a battle with anxiety and depression at that stage. Where were you mentally just prior to April 2003?
Oh, look, mentally I felt pretty solid and good. Where I was working as an electrician, it was good, but I decided to work for myself. I knew that what I wanted to achieve, what I wanted to do, I was just in the wrong environment. So I started to put plans in place and create my own contracting business, and then found my way to slowly progress into that. And then I finally left my full-time employment. We're on a good roster, 4 on 4 off, so the days off I was working, which was crazy, but I was prepared to do the extra to get myself ready so I can just walk straight into mainstream and do what I think I'm best to do, is work for myself.
So can you give us a picture of what happened in April 2003?
We went away. I was with my wife and 3 kids because my 4th wasn't born at the time. I was with my best mate, who was actually living with my sister-in-law, which is my wife's sister, and my in-laws, or my father-in-law, his best man, his wedding is the people's house we're staying at. So we'll just down the river in Bundalong. Had some journeys in the boat. Had some great adventures that day, and obviously we'll have a lot of fun with alcohol and just fun, your normal everyday situation. And unfortunately, at night time, they called a moonlight run so their house backed onto the river. So the moonlight runs where you just let the moonlight light the river and just enjoy the tranquils of the light and how it shines onto the water. Look, positive in that was great atmosphere, great view. However, a lot of areas highlight a lot of dangers, which we unfortunately went to experience. So the women went out, the wives, and we went out for their little journey, come back, and then me, my best mate, and the driver, Graham, we went out. By then we're probably fully under the influence, went down the river, got back, and unfortunately we never made it back. We were about to turn to home. We were where we could see the fire, and then bang, it was all over. Unfortunately, the boat hit a tree stump. Hit the tree stump. I was in the front, smashed into the front of the boat. The boat lifted up, slingshot the other 2 out, and unfortunately, they drowned. One was from heart attack, so because of his age and the cold water, it creates a heart attack. And my best mate, unfortunately, was concussed and unfortunately was drowned. And it took 2 days to find for the search and rescue team to find both bodies. It happened on Friday, first body Saturday night, second body Sunday, and then 2 funerals in a week. And it was just, I just can't. It was just amazing. Well, not amazing, but couldn't comprehend where it happened, and pretty lost for a while. And yeah, that's what happened. So
yeah, it's a very tough set of circumstances, and obviously, you had a lot of issues in dealing with the situation, and then, ironically, 6 months later, you had another close call with death.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, people let me just do what I do, try and grieve the way no one knows how to grieve. There's no
right or wrong way, is there?
No, we're all different, and I was pretty focused on trying to get back in the business and help my sister-in-law because she was grieving, and I thought I had myself in check. But unfortunately, a beer here and a beer there, the comfort of all comforts, which to be fair was very comforting, then it became more and more. So as everyone started to move on, I hadn't. So there was one night where I'd had a few too much to drink, at a mate's house. I chose to drive. They suggested I stay. I said I was fine. I'd had medication as well. And unfortunately, I was 2 minutes from home and drove my car into a power pole, not intentionally. There was no purpose, no intent. Just I fell asleep at the wheel. And yeah, then my life just was starting to spiral out of control. And I knew that was the first step of things weren't good. I was actually struggling and I wasn't coping and it got hard. So, yeah.
There's a great saying in your journal, Game of Life, where you say depression is when you don't really care about anything. Anxiety is where you care too much about everything, and having both is just like hell. How do you process these events on top of your already present anxiety and depression?
When you're in the heart of it, you can't process it because you're in a storm. You're clouded. Your judgments are so obscure. You're not even sure what's right and wrong, what's left and right. So, unfortunately, you've got to find trust in someone. Again, a psychologist. I went through 4. The first 4 weren't helping me. I think I was more of an entertainer for them. I think I was challenging them. I couldn't understand how you could help me if you hadn't experienced it yourself. I said, so I was really stuck in a rut. And then I found a lovely lady who took control, started guiding me. I was with her a few years. Again, that wasn't anything that saved me. I started to go outside and try and measure and do the right things myself. Because when I'm inside 4 walls, the world felt great. When I walked out, it's like you hit me with a hammer. The world didn't change. So I was still struggling with the same issues, but I was great for the hour within that room. So I started to try and find a way and work out, well, how do I going to get through this? Because I'm on the risk of losing my family. I'm on the risk of losing myself and losing everything I have because I just couldn't control and make the right decisions at the time. And those times weren't a short time. That was over a long period of time. And then, you try and put all your energy into something. So I did a renovation. I gutted a house in 2 days. I renovated a house that no one would have renovated, but that was my mindset. I'm going to do this. I'm strong-willed. And then I started to say, to my psychologist, look, can we have a break now? I want to start to put myself into life learnings, so the renovation. But then the renovation finished. What happened? I was stuck again. So in a right or wrong way, I thought, well, I've never written in my life. I wasn't very good at school, so I decided to journal my thoughts. Unbeknown to me, those thoughts that I journaled have probably helped over 1,000 people today. The majority I've never met, and I created a journal, which now is going to become a sort of a book, but we're getting to those stages. But that was more for me. No one's ever going to read it. And by off chance, someone knew my story. They told me that I was struggling with it, and they knew I was writing entries. So I offered to show them to read it. She gave me a response to what she read, and that gave me the energy and inspiration to help others and show others and also help me. So I started channeling my thoughts by helping others.
Well, we often look at signs of depression and anxiety on the individual, but it also impacts your family and those around you as well. I'm guessing the mental health situation that you were in was also having a significant effect on your family as well.
Oh, look, people talk about victims or survivors. I'm a survivor surviving. That's how I categorise myself, and I'm even surviving today. Like, that will never change. It's to what degree? 1 minute, 2 minutes, days, whatever. But unfortunately, the victims that we don't forget about, but I think we sort of tend to unintentionally neglect are the ones who are suffering, watching someone suffer. So I've seen the impact I've had on my family, my kids and my wife, but how they stand by you and how they work through you, and they're victims. And they're the victims that you think, well, how do you help them when you try and help yourself, and how can you still be the best version of you through struggle? It's a storm and it's hard to explain, and you just, it's like the Matrix, you're trying to find your way through it and navigate, but they're the victims, mate, because your kids see a strong dad who's focused and committed and does things well. All of a sudden, where's dad today? What's wrong with dad today? How come dad's not himself today? And they were young. Now my kids are coming out at the end now where they're older and they understand it better, but I don't know the impact that's had on them. I think I'm lucky where they've come out of it and where they're at and how they're grounded. We have our everyday family issues, and look, the wife, I've been lucky that she's still by my side. It hasn't been easy, but she's here. She lets me do what I do, and she's amazing. So, but again, there's been a lot of neglection there because you have to forget some things to focus on one thing. So I had to really focus on myself. Because if I couldn't be myself, I was never ever going to be able to help them. So I'm hoping now I've come out of that. I'll still have my struggles, but now I can give back and try and use my learnings, how I go about things, and try and have the positive impact I can have on my family and everyone else who's involved in my life.
In your journal, you mentioned about going to Camp Eden in Queensland. Can you tell us a little bit about what that meant to you on your journey and just some of the things that you discovered at Camp Eden?
So Camp Eden was a strange one. Not a strange one, but I remember I had an episode that night. I was just a lot of people talk about the accident, but what they forget about, I'm the only one besides the coroner, and had to go on investigation. I was the only one who was in the accident. I didn't know what happened. No one saw it because it was pitch black. But a lot of people over a period of time were talking about it as if they knew what happened. Was it alcohol, not alcohol? Was it speed, not speed? And I'm sitting there going, but you guys weren't there. And sometimes they forget that I'm out of the conversation. I'm sitting there, but I can hear it. And one night, it just got me. It just consumed me. So next day, I got up for work. I'm driving. I started breaking. I was just a mess. I just turned around, got home, and just started making phone calls. What is the best thing? And I didn't need another counsellor, another psychologist. I needed an environment that can try and help me mentally, naturally, and just I need space. So somehow I come across Camp Eden in Queensland. I spoke to them, told me exactly what I was going through. They helped me organise a plane. Then and there, I'd missed the first day of their 7-day, or there was 14-day one or 7-day one. They got me up there. They picked me up at the airport. They got me there, and bang, they were very supportive. And I didn't know what to expect. I could have sat back and not engaged in any forms of communication or work, but they offered all these services, and I bought into it. I engaged into it. I ate better. I exercised, and mentally I tried to become stronger. But I started to reflect on, I'm here because something's wrong, and I mean drastically wrong. So Camp Eden, I learned a lot. I learned that, we go into group sessions where people are there for different reasons, recharge, issues, whatever. So one of the leaders said, look, let's just sit in a group and hear each other's stories, but don't try and solve it. My little group, we had a young girl, 17, we didn't get past her because everyone who's got their own issues, I just sat back and they're all trying to help her. And I started to learn, well, hang on, I do it when I coach basketball, and I actually let them talk and I try and help when I need to help. If they just want an ear, I'll give them the ear, and these people weren't doing that. So from that moment, I got so much out of it that I wanted to bring that back to here. I didn't know at the time transition sports. I didn't know what I was going to do with that, but I knew what I got out of that, and the reflections and the learnings, and that was it was a bit of a change. Didn't save me, it helped me, but it was a massive change and shift in my life, that Camp Eden. And I've done another one a few years later, but Camp Eden, I'll be forever grateful for those 7 days.
And that's one of the issues with things like anxiety, depression, and those sorts of things, which I can come from a point of knowledge myself on those sorts of things with my own life. But sometimes you don't want solution mode from people, do you? You just want them to listen and to take it in, don't you? Yeah,
unfortunately, you've got to go through something to understand. You become very analytical now about when people want to give you, like I remember when I lost my best mate and we're going for the funerals, and obviously only the good die young. That doesn't make sense anymore to me because I'm not dead. I'm young. So what does that mean to me? I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to be comforting that we've lost, but that doesn't help me. So you start to really be critical of analogies. So when you want people to have an ear, you don't want to be solved. You don't want to say, "Oh, we'll put your head, just move on," and you get a lot of those things. And people think they're helping. What they don't realise is they're actually hurting you, and they're making it worse for you. No intent. So then you start to choose who to talk to, who not to, and then unfortunately, sometimes you then try and deal with it all by yourself. It works for a while, but then it builds up. So you got to work out how to release it, who to release it to, or what are your strategies. And look, I still don't have it 100% right. I'm still trying to find ways, but what I'll do, coaching, helping, developing kids, developing people, that's my release, that's my outlet, that's my fuel and desire. But unfortunately for me, I know it, I come crashing down. But I'll rather have those crashes and those come downs before I get out of the other days I get that are positive. So it may not be right to do it that way, but I found a way to try and just get through the days.
So in 2007, you took a really big step. You wrote to some people in your life and you asked them a pretty deep question, which takes a lot of guts, I think, to do. Since being diagnosed with depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, what person have I become? That's really challenging stuff. What did you get out of that?
Oh, look, you had to be honest, because no one wants to be honest with you because they're worried about, they're tippy-toeing on eggshells. So the thing is, you know that they're thinking what they probably want to say, but they don't know how to. So I say simple. I'll ask them the question they want to answer to, which means I've invited them in to have an open, honest approach. And I had to take it on board, and I was fine with it. I was okay with it. You'd like to be all warm and fuzzy, but mate, I was making mistakes. I'm making mistakes now. Your struggles, no one understands it. So I had to do that to then try and take another step. So if I'm struggling to take a step, I've got to engage with something, and that was one of my processes. So I've got to work out, well, if you can't tell me, I need to try and invite you in to tell me. And sometimes I've done it with friends. I start to instigate it, and then they give me feedback. But as I get older, as I get better at what I do here, I'm starting to do it myself, which makes my socialising and getting out there and meeting people, and it's becoming a lot easier. But I know if I'm struggling, I know when to park it, when to sit, when to rest, and when to just be a little bit silent. Maybe sometimes I need my personal time, and then come back into the public forum. So it's hard, but it's just one of my processes that I come up with that might get me through the next step.
So in 2010, with your ongoing depression, PTSD, and you've also got chronic regional pain syndrome as well.
Yeah, well, I call it complex regional pain syndrome. So the nervous system is misfiring from the brain, so wrong signals, and you're getting something they call it false pain. So yeah, it's pretty hard to deal with, but it's something that you've got to learn to live with.
And with all these things bubbling around in the background, you made a brave move in starting up your own basketball training facility here in Hoppers Crossing, Transition Sports. There's coaching facilities everywhere these days. What's the point of difference with Transition Sports, and how does that difference reflect on the journey that you've been on?
Look, I mean, I sort of knew, but I didn't know. Mate, basketball's a tool here. I mean, we can say we're a basketball training facility. I think we're more of an engaging facility. We try and bring better versions of people, so they're better when they walk in. So when they walk in, they're better when they walk out. We try and give them a bit of a lift in their step, a bit of inspiration to become better than what they were, and believe in themselves. So we think that this is an environment that we try and bring the best out of people, but not just through sport, as people. I think now basketball's become just a tool, a very strong tool, but we're using life learnings and logical thinking and a simplified approach on our message to try and create an all-round package, because in life learnings, in a workplace, school, on court, we're all in a team. A family's a team. Workplace a team. So that's how we look at it. I don't know whether we should be a basketball facility or we should be called something else, but we're lucky we have a full-size basketball court and we get to train kids as a bonus, so it's lucky.
It's always good to try and make a positive out of a negative, and do you think that the experience that you've been through over the last 15 years or so, do you think that when you share that message with the young people that you work with, that really helps them to be able to open up and feel like they can discuss their problems with you? Yeah,
because the sad thing is my tragedy has given me an unofficial license to get information out of others. Because if you want to talk about emotion, I've probably felt them all. If you want to talk about challenges, I've had them. If you're telling me you've had to climb one and then climb another, well, I've done that 20 million times. And every time I get to the last one, I think it's my last one, there's another one in front of me. I get those feelings, I get the concepts. So for me, negatively, my life has had to go through that to have the impact I'm having right now with others. But it gives me an in, it gets them to open up, and that's where the trust comes in, because they know I've actually felt it. I've been there, I see it, and I'm still suffering from it. So they think it. My first question is to new people: do you think I'm confident outgoing? And look, I'm not shy. Am I confident? Absolutely. But I struggle. And some people wouldn't even know about it. I'm just trying to create more awareness. Now, it's not to feel sorry for me, as we try to understand, well, how do we get the message out that we're going to help? We can have so much to offer. Unfortunately, tragic circumstances is what we're probably going to not leverage off, but we're utilising to create better people in and out of sport.
But we're seeing a lot of that in society these days, where mental health in general is being sort of focused upon, and more so the mental health of men, which is really in need of as much help as it can get these days. And we're opening a culture these days where it's more open to discussion about it. And one of the things that some people may not realise about mental health and depression and anxiety in particular is that they're not ever going to go away. They're with people forever, and it's about how you deal with that and how you manage that moving forward. So even today, umpteen years after what's happened to you, you still deal with those issues every day, don't you?
Oh, look, but that's the first part of that. You have to accept that you're never going to be the same person as you were. And that's not easy to accept. Like, I don't accept it, but I accept the fact that's how it is. Now, how do I take those steps forward? I'm going to take a back step. I'm going to be sideways at times, but I've got to find ways. Now, I have days where I struggle. A few weeks ago, I struggled. I had a bad week. There was something that triggered me. It was all over the news, but it triggered me, and it made me start to think, well, am I going down a certain path? But yeah, you always have it. It's just I don't know how long you'll suffer. So it might be a minute, 30 seconds. You just got to be aware of it, and ensure that once you're aware of it, know when to do something about it. That might be stop and rest, stop and think, turn your phone off, shut down your social media, just ignore people or engage with people, or put your energy into something that you love and you're passionate about, and that will bring the best out of you, will bring the best out of them, and before you know it, you've rebuilt yourself to get through the next day. So I always look at how I'm going to survive through the day to get through tomorrow. It's probably not a good way to think, but that's just how my measures are, and I want to be better yesterday. I want to make sure how I am today and tonight will be better for tomorrow. So not easy, it's hard, but it's in your life forever. And that's unfortunate. That's a sad thing about it.
Well, one of the things I've heard you talk about is not quitting, playing the game and finding a better way, and that's one of the things in your journal as well. What does finding a better way mean to you, and how does that reflect on how transition sports works?
Well, finding a better way is finding a better way for what you can do better. You know, the way you walk in something. If I walk into my team's training, I engage with them. I don't just walk in and go, hi. It's a personal approach. Hi guys, how you going? What's going on? Might be a better way on how I try and handle myself, how it looks from the outside looking in, how I communicate. And I get that wrong, don't get me wrong, so I'm not the perfect role model. I make a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I say things at the wrong time, the wrong way. Sometimes I could be reactive, like we all are, we're human. But finding a better way is how you deal with things better. I wouldn't say not dealing with it, it's how you cope with it. Because dealing with it, you don't deal with it. You just got to cope, you got to survive. So how to cope with it better is finding a better way.
Well, you've built a bit of a reputation for being able to reach young people playing sport and dealing with the speed humps that life delivers, and we've talked about those. Divorced parents or separated parents, young people facing serious mental health issues or medical issues within their family, individual mental health problems, suicides of friends, amongst others. More recently, you've started to look at the area of bullying in sport. Tell us a little bit about how you've been working in this area.
So prior to the Bully Zero, we were doing this anyway, and I probably didn't realise the magnitude. Because it's hard for me from the inside looking from the outside in. I just don't know what I do. We just do it. But we get phone calls from parents and kids, and sometimes kids have been pulled out of school just to come and chat to me. Some people I've never met. I get a phone call saying someone says just come and chat to you about some things, and we try and help. What we've gone through and how we utilise this as a tool and how we use platforms to get through it. We don't say we know that if it's out of our control, we can't help. Go see some professionals, but we can help guide and nurture and mentor. That's what we do. And I've got someone off drugs. I've had someone in a mental hospital that I've helped support and been there for 72 hours. I've had someone who had postnatal depression, but the opposite reverse effect, which I don't know how to deal with that. But once I was there, I think I've just learned to deal with things and how to find solutions or how to be supportive. So somehow, somewhere, I get a phone call to maybe come, can you solve a problem? Do you know how we can deal with this, or who to go to? It's just become something that's happened, and it's just grown over the years. So I don't know how it all begun, how it all started, but that's what's been happening. And it's just growing every day.
Mate, you're one of the more inspirational people that I've met in my life, and certainly your message is a very strong and a very powerful one. It's fantastic to see you turning a tragedy into something really positive that's touching a lot of people's lives. So congratulations to you and everything that Transition Sports does.
Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate your support, always, as always.
Pleasure. And over the next few episodes of the Mindset Shift, we'll be speaking with Andre Cavallo from Bully Zero about that program, and also speaking again to Darren about some of the philosophies and the methods behind transition sports. So we look forward to bringing those to you. So as we mentioned at the top of the show, we are talking about some fairly serious issues in this show. So if that's triggered anything with you, if there's anything impacting on your own mental health, please reach out to someone, whether that be Beyond Blue on 1300 22 4636 or Lifeline on 13 11 14. You've been watching The Mindset Shift, powered by the Hopper Motor Group. I'm Mark Brunger. See you next time.